Hi, welcome. Today we are going to be matching wines with a big breakfast. We're from the Wind Up. I'm Trent.
And I'm Jason, and we're two guys on an unfiltered and unapologetically unprofessional wine journey. And our slogan here is drink more, try more, learn more. And we're in a very different site today. And for those that are
Not that
listening,
different, right?
it is a bit different because we're in a bed together. we're next to each other in a bed, and we have a tray, a breakfast tray, like having breakfast in bed.
Yeah, 4 seasons, right?
4 seasons, and this is how we're going to test the theory. But it's not just us in bed together, and that's not a common thing, just so everyone's clear on this. I love my wife. We're actually you're not my wife. We're actually here in Orange, and we're going to be interviewing a few wineries, so watch out for future episodes on that. But before we dive into the content on what wine pairs with breakfast, let's jump to thoughts of the week. Trent, did you want to go first?
Yes, so my thought of the week is that I often love wine because of how we go through our methodology around sight, smell, taste.
Yes.
And the big thing for me is around that kind of perfume around the smell.
Mm-hmm.
So I would smell, and then I just keep smelling for minutes to hours on end.
To hours?
Maybe not hours.
Okay.
But I do like to kind of smell it again, in an hour's time and see how it kind of
Yes.
developed again.
Yes.
And the thing for me is that I find that kind of very addictive, very intoxicating.
Yes.
In how that smell is. And I thought, why don't we bottle that same kind of addictiveness and intoxicating aromas and perfumes into actual perfumes and colognes? So perfumes for women and colognes for men.
Yes.
So the kind of analogies that I have is around, sometimes with like the Rieslings, the kind of very kind of floral perfumes, citrus, yes. Kind of perfumes that you can then apply to women. And then I think on the male side,
Yes.
Around the Cab Sauv or the Shirazes, they kind of could be the jam, it could be the leather, cigar, tobacco
Yes.
type of smells.
Yes.
So I think it would be great, when a person walks by and go,
Yeah.
what's that? That guy seems like he's
Yes.
on this amazing journey of different aromas, this complex in character. There's something about him that I need to know a bit more.
When you walk by someone and you smell them, do you start thinking they're complex in character?
I do. No.
They're medium body.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
No, but I think that's something for me. I think will make it works. Like people bottle different smells into different things. I saw the other day like they made whiskey as a cologne as well.
Really?
Whiskey as a cologne, like.
Okay. I don't know if I'd buy the whiskey one. Whiskey, I feel like if you have that on, you smell like you're alcoholic. Right? And it could go a bit too far with the wine, but the floral scents, the citrus, etc. I think there's a place there. And for me, the Pinot is a scent I love smelling now. The combination of the herbaceousness and the fruitiness.
Like if I was wearing some Pinot cologne,
yes,
wouldn't that do something to you?
I don't know what it would do to me. You got me a bit. I don't even know what to say to that. If you were wearing a Pinot cologne and were in the bed next to me, I'd probably hop out and go.
Wouldn't you want to go?
I feel like you're about to splash some wine all over your wife. But it's a good idea. I do think there is something there.
Yeah.
I think the Trent's the wind up cologne.
Yeah.
With leather and
all
cigar
perfume,
all perfume.
Yeah.
Would be a hit. If there's anyone that thinks that's a great idea and wants us to produce this, let us know. Leave your comments below. We'll try and make it happen.
Watch your space.
Watch this space. Fantastic idea. And I'll buy it because I do think that's a good idea. For me, in terms of thoughts of the week, I was thinking about the area, and Orange is characterized as a cool climate area. And I really wanted to understand what's the difference between cool climate and warm climate. Some people may know this, you probably already know what the differences are, but for me it wasn't very clear. So I had spent some time just looking into it.
Mm.
And what I realized is that if you want to understand the differences between both, you really need to understand the concept of ripeness. And so ripeness, if you think about, I think about my mother, she loves mangoes, and she loves both the unripened mango, so the green mango, where it's a bit tart and a bit bitter in flavor, but she also likes the orange mango, so the ripened mango, which is quite sweet. And so that's kind of the range in terms of ripeness that you can get. Think about bitter, more acidic flavors or tarty flavors. And then if it's more ripe, it's absolutely more sugary, fruity, sweet.
Talking about fruit, I'm thinking about that term, you know, comparing apples to apples. You know, there's
Yes.
like green apples, you got red apples. To kind
Yes.
of, it's like you have the tart kind of like green apple, Granny Smiths versus like the other apples. It's like, you know, the different type of. I'm sure they grow in different climates as well.
Yes.
And there's like the different flavors that come through.
Yeah.
Green bananas to the kind of yellow
Perfect
Cavendish
example.
and ladyfinger bananas.
Yes.
It's all different again to different preferences as well.
Perfect example. And that really highlights that range around the ripeness. And then if you take that with the concept of cool versus warm, in a warmer climate environment, you tend to get the fruits. It's easier for the fruits to become ripe. And so warmer climates, such as areas in Australia, such as South Australia. If we think about Argentina, in France, what's the warm climate in France? Is it Bordeaux or is it? I think it's Bordeaux.
Yeah, warmish. Maybe Rhone's.
Warmish?
Rhone's probably.
Rhone.
Yeah.
So those kind of areas, warm climate, you think of riper fruits, sweeter, bolder flavors, heavier flavors as well.
Yeah.
So as it's ripened, more of that acidity and tartness is actually coming out, and it's more sweet. And then if you think about cooler climates, such as New Zealand and in Australia, Tasmania, it's harder for the fruit to ripen.
Even Yarra as well.
Even Yarra, it's harder for the fruit to ripen. And so you're getting more acidic, tarty flavors as opposed to those sweet, bold flavors. And it's probably lighter as well, as a generalization. And so I hope that gives a difference between the two, warm versus cool. Think of ripeness, think of mangoes, green mango versus orange mango. It kind of affects the flavors and the complexity that you're going to get. And I think the art is trying to get that right balance between getting it ripe and sweet, as well as keeping that level of acidity in there. That's the art to it.
Yeah, and also I think, you know, you simplify it greatly in terms of cool is this and warm is that. I think I said to you before that, you know, there's also a lot more that goes into it in terms of aspects.
Yes.
Diurnal shifts in terms of hot and cold between night and day, continental or maritime climates, the type of soils, drainage, the type of gravel, you know, it all contributes to different types of wine. So
there's so many factors to
temperature is
consider.
one thing, but also, weather's another thing. Another big thing that you think about as well, like I hear a lot about climate change and how, like even in Bordeaux, it's getting a lot, like the droughts are getting, so when it's hot, it gets really hot for a longer time. When it's cold, it gets cold for a long time. When there's no water, there's drought for a longer period of time. And they've had to kind of shift how they do around the winemaking to try and adapt towards that.
Yes.
So like in Bordeaux, I know with one of the wines we'll try later on, it's for that chateau, you know, they're putting kind of vegetation onto the ground so that it'll absorb and provide a layer to kind of absorb a bit of that heat.
Right. Yes. Got it.
Whereas that's not something that they actually did before. Again, these shifts again in terms of temperature, also shifts in terms of how they create the wines and different types of wines as well.
And that's why it's an art. There's so many factors to consider, and I really salute all of the winemakers out there, because every year it's going to be different. Good salute there in the bed. Yeah. And so that covers our thoughts of the week. Let's jump to the content. We've got some...
You don't want me to salute in the bed though.
Keep the salute up high with your hands. No other salutes. That's not what we're looking for. And so if we jump to the content for today, we've got a nice plate in front of us. And for those listening, we've got what would be considered a standard breakfast, I think, in Australia.
Yeah.
We've got some fried eggs, we've got some bacon, we've got some sausage, a chicken sausage in this instance, and my favorite, the hash brown. I think it's compulsory to have a hash brown for breakfast. And so today we are trying to work out what wine pairs with the breakfast.
Yeah. So should we start with my wine first, or talk about breakfast?
Yeah. Well, we've talked about the breakfast. I think it's pretty straightforward. This is all classic items for breakfast, but I don't typically have wine in the morning. And we want to prove that that's not a bad thing.
And I typically don't have this type of breakfast in the morning.
And
as
you
well.
don't to be, you're a birch and muesli kind of guy.
But today's a special day.
Yes.
You know, I'm waking up, living the dream with my mate in bed.
Yes.
And I thought, what's better than the breakfast in bed with wine?
Yeah. No offense to you, but I would like my wife in bed next to me. But you're alright as well.
As I say, I'm here.
All right. So Trent chose a wine, and I chose a wine. Trent, did you want to introduce your wine first? And why you chose it?
So the wine that I picked today is a Sauvignon Blanc from Marlborough, New Zealand. I think often we think about Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc as a certain kind of stereotype around it, like kind of big, maybe over extracted, kind of hits you in the face, grassy type of notes. And that's like what I've heard like from more kind of wine experts with far more experience than me. And the one that they kind of say, I think in two kind of podcasts that's kind of differs from that is the Dog Point Vineyard Sauvignon Blanc. So I thought I'll look for that one. And today I brought the 2022 Dog Point Vineyard Sauvignon Blanc from Marlborough. So the reason for why I brought this one and thought why it would pair well with big breakfast is that it'll be high in acid, it'll be very refreshing, it'll cut through the fat, it's got that zestiness of like kind of grapefruit, passion fruit that will kind of come through, and I think it just feels like it's just a good morning breakfast. I think breakfast juice, passion fruit, grapefruit, lemons. It's like kind of
breakfast. That makes sense. I agree.
And that's my kind of thinking behind it, but we'll see if that works or not.
Yeah, looking forward to trying it. Okay, and so as we do here in the wind up, we like to taste with our eyes, nose, and mouth, and so that's what we'll do first. On the eyes, as we put it on our white bed sheet next to each other, which is a unique thing to do. Very clear, translucent straw, a touch of green grass on there. On the nose, as Trent smells it, think of your perfume. How would you describe this as a perfume or cologne?
I smell like. Remember the other time that I talked about, personalities in terms of wine or different characters. But this one just smells fun. It smells fun.
Right. Who's a fun celebrity though?
Who's a fun celebrity? Not Jim Carrey, but something a bit more fun. Seth Rogen? I don't know.
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart.
This smells like Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what this, but yeah, it's bright.
It's
refreshing.
Bright, refreshing, fun. You get those grapefruit and passion fruit notes coming through as well.
Grapefruit, yeah, the passion fruit and the seeds. I do get a bit of cut grass on it.
But so that kind of restraint as well. It's not in your face. It's kind of.
Yes, agree.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I think New Zealand Sauv Blancs are really nice. There's just a lot on the market now, and some of them can hit you in the face, like you were saying. So you've given it a taste. Do you want to describe what you're tasting?
Definitely has that kind of that zestiness that kind of comes through. That I didn't look for that in wines before, but more so now I'm looking for more refreshing, kind of balanced acidity, I guess.
Yes.
Kind of wines, and I think this one kind of does that for me. It's fresh, easy to drink. But this is the phase I'm going through now, and yeah, it feels very tropical, like a breakfast, not kind of like a breakfast juice thing.
Grapefruit juice is
grapefruit juice. Yeah,
it's delicious. I got it. Well, we haven't had it with the breakfast yet, but this isn't typical of a lot of the other Sauv Blancs from Marlborough that I've had. It's a bit more restrained.
Yeah.
But the flavor profile is delicious, and the acidity with it is drying out the mouth as well.
Do you know the other great pairing for a big breakfast?
What is it?
Adding a bit of sauce to it.
Adding a bit of sauce. Oh no. What sauce?
Not the type of sauce that you're thinking.
Not sauce. Do you normally keep tomato sauce in the bedroom?
I do.
Okay, that's a bit kinky. All right. And oh gosh, Trent is putting tomato sauce all over the eggs. I've never seen this. Comment below if you think sauce on eggs is a illegal move
it's-
or a legal move? Because I think that's illegal.
It's a great thing to do. It's a great thing to do. It's
Yes.
a very Japanese thing to do.
Japanese.
But it's got, again, it's a great pairing. Try the egg, the tomato sauce.
Yes.
It works.
Okay.
Omelette with
Alright.
tomato sauce, that works as well.
I trust you. I trust you. So Trent's going to smash out a chicken sausage, dip it in the sauce and the egg. Too much flavor going on, but okay. And see how that goes.
Sound like Uncle Roger. Is that? Boy-yo!
All right. So sauce, egg, sausage, and Sauv Blanc. Let's see if this works. As I'm going to try and tuck in, what are you tasting?
I taste the flavor sensation.
Flavor sensation.
No, when I think about a good wine pairing, I think about it lifts both. And I think it lifts, in this case, it does lift the food and also lifts the wine as well at the same time. Because when I had the wine itself, it was good. Very linear, very straightforward.
Yes.
When I had it with the food, it actually brought a bit more complexity to the wine and also cut through the fattiness of the big breakfast.
I'm really happy with that. I'm not happy about the tomato sauce on the egg, but either way, it really refreshes the palate, but also the contrasting flavors of that. It's really, I imagine having a grapefruit juice, that citrus flavor paired with this kind of greasy breakfast. It works well.
The weird thing is that I don't like grapefruit juice, but I like
Yes,
this wine.
yes, I completely agree. So it's not that bitter in terms of flavor, but that's delicious.
And it makes you, again, the sign of good pairing is that it makes you want to go back for more
Yeah.
food, more wine.
Yeah, I actually wanted to tuck into the hash brown with it, which is my go-to, and have it with the sauce. Yeah.
So for me, it works. If I was going to give it a rating, I would say it was pretty high. I think it was 8 out of 10 for me in terms of that pairing. It's amazing, right? It's like
That's a great pairing. I think you've answered the question. What wine pairs with breakfast?
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a Sauv Blanc from New Zealand, Marlborough.
I think I said 8 out of 10, but I think it's even pushing it.
Yes.
I feels like having it more and more actually works better and better.
Right.
Like-
So you're increasing the pairing rating.
Oh, like, yeah.
Yeah.
I only work in absolute, so I have to stick with the 8.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, it would have been like an 8.5 type of thing. But I really, really love this.
This is a good rating. Well done. Good pairing. Well done. I would give this an 8 out of 10 as well. I would gladly have this for breakfast every week if it was a healthy choice. Yeah, but good choice. Well done.
Yeah. Dog Point Vineyard.
Dog Point Vineyard.
Try it.
All right. Let's move on to the wine that I've tried as we bring it onto the tray here in bed with Trent.
Sounds like another show, In Bed with Trent, is it?
That's
the other channel.
That's the only James episode where we use the tomato sauce for something else. And so the wine that I chose today was a rosé, and it's a wine from King Valley, which is in Victoria. It's a Pizzini Rosetta Rosé, and it uses Sangiovese and Nebbiolo grapes.
You gotta say it right.
2022.
Think Italian. Think Italian when you say it. How would an Italian person say it? Think Mario and Luigi.
Sangiovese
That's better.
and Nebbiolo.
That's better. That's
Any
better.
Italian listeners are gonna be cringing, and they're like, "What are these Asian guys saying?" Like, yeah,
Pizzini, is it?
Pizzini, yeah,
Pizzini?
yeah. You're Italian, you're French, you've got it all covered.
Yeah.
I picked it up from Dan Murphy's for about $21, and my thoughts around why I chose a rosé. I think it's breakfast. We should have something light, something refreshing. I think the rosé might add the dryness that you need to kind of cut through.
Did you pick Rose because it's also your favourite Blackpink character as well?
Yes, and she's not a character.
Character person.
You cannot call Rose a character. I can't believe you did that. I want to get out of this
Singer?
bed right now. Any of the blinks out there, I'm one of you.
The Blinks. I didn't know that.
Come on, get into
I didn't know.
We're getting off topic here.
Okay.
But listen to Blackpink, they're fantastic. Also, New Jeans, anyone wants to listen to New Jeans, I like it as well. The Rosé, which is also a member of Blackpink, but also
You're thinking about her now.
considered a wine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was kind of the acidity is going to cut through the oiliness of this. Rosé has the Nebbiolo and the Sangiovese, so that should bring
Sangiovese.
Mario's going to be upset. That should bring across the bit of fruitiness and lush berries on there. And so I'm keen to give this a try. I have to admit, I haven't had many rosés. This is probably my third one. After we watched Merrick Watts in his show with the rosé, I was onto it a bit more, but keen to give this a pairing. So let's talk about it on the eyes. And to me, I think this is slightly different to the rosés I've seen in the shelves in that it's probably a bit more orange rust color as opposed to that pink color, but still quite clear, which to me indicates it's crisp. And on the nose, Trent's having a scent and thinking about it. Thinking of Blackpink, is it?
Nah, yeah. I've seen a lot of rosé as well, but not my favourite.
Rosé, don't listen to him. Also, rosé is from Australia, so.
Yeah, this one, compared to the Sauvignon Blanc, it's definitely a lot more rounded. This one has a bit more kind of that body to it, which you would expect, but more kind of reddish berries. I think there's kind of strawberries and cream kind of confectionery lollies.
Yes.
Not quite.
Yes, I get that.
Yeah.
And the acidity, there's acidity, there's the citrus notes there, a bit of grapefruit as well. Probably not as strong as what we had with the Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah, so the red fruits with like a bit of custard or something like that. It's something like that. That's kind of
strawberry and cream lollies is actually exactly, it describes this quite well. There's something about that. And it's the sweetness to it as well. So we've had a scent. You've had a taste right now.
That's actually quite nice, isn't it? By itself, quite nice. Has that length that kind of comes through. Has a bit of that roundness coming through. It covers the palate.
What's surprising is, you talked about strawberries and cream, the lolly, and I'm thinking sweetness. There's no sweetness in this at all, actually. And someone once said bone dry. I feel like bone dry is a descriptor for this. What do you think? Yeah, it's very dry.
It's very dry. I don't know how to say bone dry. I don't know why bones are dry. But anyway, but yes, it's very dry.
It is. There's something about it, but a slight bit of citrus.
I find it quite desert dry for me. There's no sweetness to it. So strawberries and cream without the sweetness.
Yeah, so on the scent, it's sweet. On the palate, not sweet.
It has a length that kind of comes through as well.
Yes.
It has a kind of aromas coming through, like kind of. It's not woody. It's more floral, but it's more. But I would say it's more kind of confectionery.
On the palate.
Yeah, coming through. On the palate, it kind of then comes through the nose.
But confectionery is sweet.
Yeah, it's weird. They're kind of musky. The musk, the kind of that tatale.
Yeah, some kind of powdery thing. Let's give this a go with the breakfast.
Okay. Let me tuck into my sausage.
And again, eggs on sauce. Oh, terrible. At least you don't use barbecue sauce. I'm happy with that. Okay. And
Woolworths sausages, $12 for 2 packs.
It's got a bit of herb on it. I like Woolies.
No. But then when you get it so cheap, you don't know what's in the sausages.
Just close your eyes.
Close your eyes. That's what you said last night.
You always have to say this while I'm eating, and it just creates this awkward gap, like it was real. Like last night we were together. It's not. Viewers, not the case. Not the case. I love that sausage, to be honest. Drink it. It's a delicious sausage. It's very herby. I like them. And so, very different experience, to be honest, than with the Sauvignon Blanc. You know what? It doesn't refresh the palate. It doesn't cleanse it. It's almost like I had some water to kind of just wash the mouth out more than anything else. But it didn't. I think you used the word uplifting or something like that. This is not uplifting the flavors, which is interesting because the wine on its own is actually quite delicious, but as a pairing, maybe not as good.
Yeah, I think because the rosé itself has a bit of that body to it, and then also like the heaviness of the food, then it kind of like makes it extra heavy.
Right.
Because with the Sauvignon Blanc had a bit more that kind of crisp acidity to it, really cut through it, and then kind of lift it. And I thought with the Sauvignon Blanc, again, it highlighted the flavors and the different notes around the grapefruit and passion fruit a bit more. With this one, yeah, like I think it's okay.
Yes.
But definitely nowhere near the kind of pairing that we had.
I think it needs more citrus, to be honest, more acidity to cleanse it out. It comes across a bit flat, and that's the reason why it's not refreshing. But on its own, it's a delicious wine. And the family, that area from King Valley, I found out it's actually quite a few Italian. It's got an Italian background. A lot of people moved from Italy to that area, and so there's a lot of great grapes from King Valley. So I'm keen to try more.
Great grapes.
Great grapes.
Great grapes.
Did I say that correctly? I said that correctly.
Said that 10 times quickly.
You're digging into the hash brown. I think you're hungry.
Yeah.
It's making you have more. It's probably that tomato sauce. But if we think about Corkscrew ratings, it's not as good a pairing as the Sauv Blanc, I have to say. I was expecting something a bit different, but it's good to try this out. I would give this a 6 out of 10 Corkscrews.
Yeah.
You know, it's not disgusting. It's not that at all. But it's not as good a pairing as the Sauv Blanc.
It's funny how like when you taste it with the different things, like with the sausages, it was like meh, but then with the hash brown, it actually tasted even worse.
Better or worse? Okay.
Worse. That's right. So again, it's like even within the big breakfast, and different components, and as you kind of pair it through, there's different levels to it as well.
Yeah, that's right. And if you think about the hash brown, it's potato. There's not much flavor in there, and that's what I mean. I feel like this needs a bit more of something, if that's the citrus or more flavor, just to lift it up a bit. What's your Corkscrew rating out of 10?
Corkscrew rating is probably about 5 or 6 out of 10. Probably if I had to land one, probably 5 out of 10.
Yep.
kind of going through it on the by itself, the wine, you know, it's probably 7 out of 10. But then with the food, because what we're doing today is about pairing and matching the wine to the food. Yeah, it kind of goes down. It doesn't really uplift or lift up.
Yep.
You know, one or the other or both. It actually brings down.
Why did you need to go uplift or lift up? You needed to show too.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah, just in case. I agree. And so I hope we've answered some questions today. What wines? Firstly, can you have wine for breakfast? Yes, absolutely.
Can you have wine any time of the day? Yes.
Can you have wine any time of the day? Yes.
Can you have wine any time of the day with a friend in bed?
No, do not do that, and do not give me those puppy dog eyes like you want that to happen quite often. Can you have wine as a cologne or a perfume? Yes. Whiskey, probably not. Probably an alcoholic. So a pairing with the classic eggs, hash browns, sausage, and bacon. Give the Sauv Blanc a try. I think that worked delicious.
Dog Point, man. Dog
Point is a great choice, and the rosé. Maybe not this particular rosé on its own. It's fantastic and delicious, but the pairing doesn't work as well. Was there any last comments you wanted to make?
Yeah, I think the Sauv Blanc blew my mind. You know, like Warheads, you had that kind of photo.
Explosion.
Like, that explosion, that was for me.
Do people still have Warheads?
I think they do.
I think that shows your age. But
rosé, stick to the singer, not to this one with the pairing. Look at that.
Blinks. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Blinks.
And so with that, let's wind it up. As we say here, drink more, try more, learn more. Thanks all.
Bye.